Minding our Welcome to Minding Our Black-owned business, where no business is too small. It's your host for the culture, the man connecting the dots between black entrepreneurs everywhere. It's the Cool Cat. I am Cool Artie, and right now we are in Mount Vernon, New York, at the Westchester Barber Academy. And like always, let's tap in and meet the owner. Come on. Minding our black-owned business. What's up?
Hey, what's good, baby? How you doing?
Good.
Right.
Introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, everybody? My name is Charnay, Phaire. I'm the executive director and founder of the Westchester Barber and Beauty Academy.
All right, man. I'm excited about what you got going on here. Show me a little bit about it. So this is the
barbershop.
Okay.
Right? This is where everybody is fully licensed.
Yep.
This exists as a way to give our graduates a job.
Okay.
So this is a real live barbershop. Everybody's licensed. We use this as our community space also. You might walk in on a Saturday and see somebody preaching financial literacy, men's health, all of these things, all of the conversations in the barbershop that may be difficult to have anywhere else.
I love that, man. The barbershop has always been like that safe haven for us, man.
Absolutely.
And it's like adding the positive side of that as well, man, because there's always misconceptions about what really is being spoken about here.
Right.
So I'm glad you clarified for us a little bit. How long has this been?
So we opened this September of 2018.
Okay.
So we're going on 7 years.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I am super impressed with what you got going on here. Like just for so many different like aspects of, we used to the barbershop, but now we're really tapping back into what it is to take it back, and now we have a trade. We're actually providing God knows how many people, which we're gonna get into, with their own mindset of how to control their future. And like, so in terms of this particular space right here that we're in right now, how many students are usually working at the same time and at a time when you're going through?
Yeah, so we have capacity for 14 students all at one time.
Okay.
So if you think about it, barbers were some of the first entrepreneurs post-slavery.
Yeah.
Right. So when we get back into thinking about how to run a business, this is a natural thing for us.
Yep. And in this academy itself, like let's kind of scale back a little bit. Like, how did this come about? How did this branch out come about? Because you could have just like kept it at opening the barbershop and just like, this is what we're doing. Like, what made you say, all right, cool, what we're gonna do is, number one, we're gonna give back. We're gonna allow people to empower and create their own opportunity.
Yeah.
That was cool, by the way. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So talk to me about that.
You gotta fail your way to success. I've had a barbershop before, had it for 5 years, and I actually became a barber because I was going away to college.
Okay.
And literally my brother was telling me, like, if you're a full-fledged barber, by the time you go away to college, the campus will eat you alive. And literally, that's what happened. So I'm the youngest of 7.
Yeah.
Right, I'm the youngest of 7. All you had to do is tell me one time.
Yep.
So became a full-fledged barber. I had a full monopoly at Stony Brook, where I went to college at. Graduated, worked a full-time job, but then I decided to be daring and open a barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
Had it for 5 years, and when I was there, it made money. When I wasn't there, when I was at my 9 to 5, it made no money. So trying to find barbers was one of the toughest things, right? And I realized my background was in human resources.
Okay.
So,
which is super important.
Yeah, learning the ins and outs, the nucleus of every business, each department, how it all filters in together. I started to look at my entrepreneurial effort as a human resource project. So, I realized every industry had a labor shortage, and I was like, all right, I can't be in this position again where I need people to run the shop while I'm at work.
Yep.
But I tried to develop people, and for whatever reason, they didn't stick. So I said, this time around, I need to create the pipeline, right? If I create the pipeline, then I can keep spinning off into these different efforts. And quite honestly, like, I would love to sit up here and tell you, like, this has been my brainchild from the very beginning. But the truth, is literally, I went from job to job every 2 to 3 years. For whatever reason, I was changing jobs.
Okay.
And this is while I was married. This is while I had 1 kid, while I had two kids. like changing jobs every 2 to 3 years, and I realized this was not sustainable. I became the school leader at one of the local charter schools here in Mount Vernon, and I saw that some of the boys were getting in trouble on purpose to spend one-on-one man time with me. I was the guy snatching lunch breaks, hey, you said what? Grab your lunch, you're not eating with your friends, you eating with me.
Accountability.
Exactly. And then we debrief and talk about how, what better decisions you could have made and everything. And then I realized, I was like, listen, I'm in the office a lot. I got all this barbershop equipment from my first shop, and there was an empty room. I just was able to take a room within the charter school and created a full-fledged barbershop. I taught kids in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade how to cut hair.
How did they respond?
They responded amazing. It didn't matter what they were like in other classes. It was that male accountability. And one thing I realized, when you're a good husband, when you're a good father, even though people may not have a good husband or a husband at all, or they might have not had a father in their life, they still respect that male energy, that positive male energy. So I became everybody's uncle, everybody's father, the community husband in a sense, where people run different scenarios by. But to answer your question, when it came to how did the people respond, I mean, it didn't matter what these students were like in other classes. When they came to my class, we was accountable. If they, we built a culture of not tearing each other down, because kids in middle school, high school, snapping and everything. So if they did that, they'd have to do push-ups, and sometimes if they were late, they have to do push-ups. I do push-ups with them. So it built that accountability, and then they realized once they can make money doing this, some of the teachers were supporting. If somebody had a baldy, security would come in, they let them experiment, and then they give them like $5, and they're like, really? You serious? And I'm like, yes, this is what you worked for. When you first get that first dollar from doing something that you love, it's a light bulb.
Absolutely.
It changes.
I can continue to do this at a higher level. The more I practice, the more I get better at it. And then I can literally just build a full-fledged business out of it.
Absolutely. And one thing we talk about even to this day, we talk about ambidextrous hustle.
Talk to me about that.
Ambidextrous hustle is like, if you think about it, being ambidextrous, your offhand is just as strong as your dominant. So people always preach, you should go to college, get a degree. Other people are saying, hey, you should get a skilled trade. I grew up so broke that I was doing both. Because I never wanted to be in this position again. So when we talk about ambidextrous hustle, we're teaching people to not only get a trade, but get a formal education also. Because if you get a trade first, that's gonna fuel your education. And then on top of that, think about when you're in college, all of these people are your potential customers.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. What I love the most about that is like you're championing both sides of the field. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times somebody is strictly left or right. And they're like, okay, no, I'm getting a trade. No, I'm 9 to 5 then. But you're allowing them to see both sides of the field, which not a lot of people really cater to. So I think that's amazing. I think that mindset is super remarkable.
So where we're about to go next, we are going into the barber school. Okay, this is where people learn to become barbers. This is where everyone who's an aspiring barber, they come in. This is our practical side. This is where people come in off the street, get a haircut for a discount. Our students get practice. Everybody's happy. The other thing is that this also serves as an examination site. So
elaborate on that.
So at the end of 540 hours, students have to take what's known as a practical exam. They have to give a haircut, straight razor shave, and a facial massage. It's all practical, and at the end of that process, they get their license.
Is that like considered like the final?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So they complete their 540 hours. Then they take their state board exam here. They have home court advantage. They get to take their exam in a place where they've practiced for the last 4.5 to 6 hours.
That's really fire. So now that you got a little bit of taste of what that felt like, talk to me about how we got here. How did we make this happen?
So, the charter school building that program did a lot for my company.
And first of all, I think that's amazing that they even created that space for you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people might even be frowned upon that. You know what I mean? Like, nah, this is what we're doing. But the fact that that flexibility was there,
It definitely helped that I was the school leader. So
Oh, there you go, exactly.
I was able to see, what rooms weren't being used and everything.
That's awesome.
So like I said, I was changing jobs every 2 to 3 years, right?
Yep.
And I thought there was something wrong with me. And I had to go to my wife, hey, you know what? We parted ways. I'm not going to be there anymore. And, as a man, it's like, all right,
conversation
God will provide.
Yep.
But for women, it's actually, it could be devastating. Like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Everything. But I can truly tell you that every time I left the job, the next job that I had was in an elevated position. But one time I actually got down on myself, right? Okay. And I have a high confidence level, right? I actually got down on myself and I was like, yo, you know what? It must be something I'm doing wrong. This keeps happening in different places. It's something I'm doing wrong. And my boy, you might know him. He's known for telling people off. Okay. Right? So when he said, you know what your problem is? I braced myself all right, what? And then he said something that was really profound. He said, you keep having this problem because you're a natural born leader working for followers who just happen to be in a leadership position. And he said, unless you make a follower who just happens to be in a leadership position comfortable with how they're managing you, they're always gonna have a problem with you.
All right. Now that's a cool fact.
Cool fact.
Now that's a cool fact.
Light bulb.
Bingo.
Light bulb.
I've been there, bro, so I know. Yes.
And at that point, I was like, oh man, I've been playing too small all of this time.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to fit into other people's situations. I've been trying to make everybody get along, but to an insecure leader, I'm the target. Like, they don't respect me, but they respect him. I want to get everybody's attention, I'm gonna take him out. Guess what? He's not here no more. Right? So at that point, there was a light bulb. And I just thought about the success that I had. I really just took inventory of my life and I had to figuratively empty out my pockets to say, all right, what do you got, Nate? All right, you got barbering, you got a college degree, you got HR, you got experience as a school leader, you mentor. And then next thing I know, it was like a jigsaw puzzle where it's like, boom, this is the picture. I can start a barber school. It's literally intersected all of the different roads that led to this big ocean, with this particular project. So to answer your question about how this started, this was really just a continuation of college. This was a continuation of the charter school, right? And this was a continuation of the stuff that I do in the community, right? So this was just your
love for empowering the next generation and the next generation after that. Right. And I think what is so important about that is that there's so much opportunity here, but it takes a Charnay to really invest in that, be passionate about it, and just bring it all together with your skill set and obviously your love for uplifting the community. So that's amazing.
The mannequins are just kind of what we show in class. Right here, what you have in front of you is a mannequin for the 14-stroke razor shave. There's a specific way of how to do a razor shave for the state board exam. So this is just an example of it.
And that's exactly why everything is numbered and labeled.
Yep, and it has arrows. So this is the classroom. This is where everything happens. We always start with a motivational quote or a motivational video. We talk about blending. We work on mannequins here. We have different scenarios in this jar right here. Right. So when people come in, sit there like that. It's randomly fit. All right.
You are a barber and a customer comes in with an appointment with another barber. They say they haven't heard from him or her and they've been waiting for 30 minutes. What do you do?
How can you handle it?
Sheesh! So in other words, isn't that frowned upon?
It could be.
But customer first.
Absolutely.
And customer satisfaction and experience. Right. This is dope. Yeah. I love this. I might have to incorporate this in my life. This is our scenario.
And then right here, this is the swear jar.
Oh.
So not all of your customers are into swearing.
Yeah.
You never know who you have in your chair. You can have an elected official, you can have a pastor, somebody in the church.
Yep.
And then you got kids running around too. So there's a time and place You gotta know when to turn it on and turn it off. So anytime our students curse while they're in class, they banned out.
Oh, absolutely. We get a lot of life lessons here. Listen, pay attention. How many, do you guys have like a number of how many people have come through the school already?
So the last time I checked, we had about 148 in the last 5 years.
I love that.
You know, and these are all licensed barbers. Some of them are working on the set of TV and film. Some of them are working in shops, owning shops. Some of them are contract workers with MWBE.
Yep.
The best thing for me is when somebody comes in and not sure what they want to do for the rest of their life, and then they make these life upgrades, okay? Because of barbering, now I have a car. Because of barbering, now I'm starting my family. You know, it's a privilege to be able to see people develop.
Something you said earlier during our walkthrough, you talked about how this is a full-fledged one-stop shop.
Yeah.
How we're teaching you how to make it happen. Yep. We're teaching you the skill set. Yep. You're taking this, the test, you're getting licensed, and then essentially they can actually even be employed here as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So take me a little bit through, quite through that process. Like, how does that work, and like, how do you feel like that success rate has been with you guys here at WBA?
I mean, I think it's been amazing. I mean, we train, we license, and we hire. Right, when the student is outstanding. Think about it. Our programs range from 4.5 months, 6.5 months, 8.5 months for cosmetology. That's enough time for us to get to know your good habits, your bad habits, if you are lazy, if you're not, if you take initiative, all of those things. But also, this is our resume to you, right? So I think a lot of our students get spoiled thinking that this is how most barbershops run. And it's not the case.
Yeah. It's different climates everywhere. Every single place. Yeah. So I love that. And it also helps teach them how to deal with different personalities. Because they're constantly in and out. Yep. And you were talking about how, like, when they come in and during their training, when they're actually cutting people, they're charging them what do you say?
We charge $10.
$10. Now, how does that work in terms of compensation? Is that part of your the business that go back into the business or into the person's pocket? How does that work?
Yeah, it goes back into the business.
Okay.
As a student, students are not able to collect money other than tips. That definitely goes back into the business. But the most important thing is the students are getting that practice with live people, different scenarios. We have probably about 4 different shelters on rotation that come in on a regular basis. So, you have a whole range of personalities that come and sit in your chair, but you gotta learn how to handle it.
Yes, of course. Because everybody's not the same, everybody's situation is not the same.
Right.
And then even listen, one thing I know, no matter how bad a day I'm having, I'll leave that chair, changes everything.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. So we also cut the asylum seekers.
Okay.
The folks that are coming into the country illegally.
Yeah.
And we just want to do something better, good for the community. Regardless of how they got here, they're here now. Right. Mm-hmm. So that was an opportunity for us to do something nice for people in the community and our students to get practice. Mm-hmm. And there were so many different language barriers.
Wow.
I mean, you got French, you got Arab, you got Spanish, like Creole, everything. And there was a language barrier, but the one thing that was universal was when they got that cut and they looked in the mirror, that smile, the thumbs up, that was all.
I'm outside, we back outside.
That's it.
You mentioned a lot of the different government contracts you had. I heard that you guys are also doing that with inmates as well.
Absolutely.
So talk to you about that. I think that's super interesting.
Thank you, man. So it ranges, right? So high schools, charter schools, juvenile detention facilities, military bases, funeral homes, and correctional facilities. Our first contract was with a nursing home. Our second contract was with the juvenile detention facility out in Queens.
How was that experience?
That experience was, if you're involved in the community, these are people you play ball with. Yeah. Just people you mix it up with in some way, shape, or form. So, like I said, everybody gravitates to a stable man. It was no different once they realized, and of course, they come from a lot of trauma, but once you build consistency with them, everything drops.
The walls drop.
Yeah, the walls drop. So that gave us the springboard to apply for our big contract, which was Rikers Island.
Okay.
And we've had a contract with Rikers Island for about 6 years.
Nice.
And where we're teaching how to cut, but at the same time, we're teaching them that they have transferable skills. And I usually play this game with them where I'm like, all right, other than sexual crimes, you give me any illegal activity, I can show you a positive way to do it. If you like to shoot, be a sniper in the military. You're selling drugs, go into pharmaceuticals. The average drug dealer is no idiot. They're no dummy.
Correct. You're right.
Emotional intelligence, everything. Supply and demand, everything. So when you think about that, people have transferable skills, but there was no one on the business side to say, hey, what you're doing is actually, there's a legal way for you to do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. So we went straight from the barber school. How did we expand? Because the next expansion now we went beauty school, cosmetology. Mm-hmm. How did it talk? I mean, obviously it's synonymous, right? Yeah. They go hand in hand. So how was that transition for you guys?
So I'm gonna take you back just a little bit.
Yeah.
When I decided to do the barbershop, it's funny, when I was closing my first one, my wife was ecstatic because we had little kids.
Yeah.
And, she wanted me to be home more. So I made that decision on my own. And then she said to me, don't worry, it'll come around again. And I'm in my feelings. Like, yeah, all right, whatever. Closing these doors, everything.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, she was right. And when I actually started the after school program, that light came back on. And instead of jumping right in to do a barbershop, what I did was I started with my contracts first.
Okay.
And I did not collect the salary from this organization for the first 3 years because I was working as a school leader at a charter school.
Oh yeah, copy.
So when it came to me starting the business, I started with contracts, going to nursing homes, going to places where I had a group of people and not necessarily focusing on the individual client. Mm-hmm. At a nursing home, I can cut 30 people in a matter of hours and then walk out of there. There's no overhead. Yeah. Next was the juvenile detention facility, cutting and instructing and then walking out of there, no overhead. So all of that profits just building into a bank account. Yeah. And when we got the big fish, Rikers Island, literally it kept building into a bank account. So now I'm like, all right, now I can do a brick and mortar initiative. Mm-hmm. So every brick and mortar initiative is tied to a contract. This way, God forbid, nobody walks in the door, the contract keeps it afloat. And then vice versa, if the contracts ever go away, then this is something that will be stable. So,
yes.
So started the barbershop in 2018, tied that to the Rikers Island contract, and then kept accumulating more contracts. We're up to 24 now. And each contract was tied to an initiative. The goal was to always start a barber school. Yeah. Right. So, God blessed us enough to keep expanding. So now we have cosmetology and we have nails, and contracts are flourishing. We're going through a renewal phase now. Okay. And then after we get accredited, the idea is to take the same model and put it in all parts of, the New York State
scale
that need it. Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's, besides the fact that you guys have already done such an amazing job here, cool. Now where's next? Where else can we impact and affect the communities, obviously positively and more effectively as well? And you talked about these contracts. How did we get involved in that? Was that already because of your expertise in school, understanding how to write out these and get these contracts together, or?
Well, I actually started when I came home from college, when I graduated. I started working with a guy who had contracts, and I've never seen it done that way. Yep. And I was like, hey, this is really smart.
And so you telling me just now, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. He had a business where he would go to places, travel, bring a team with him, everybody cut, and then everybody divvies up the pie. Yep. And then you go on to the next. So it was a team, like your media team here, right? It was similar in that capacity. So, I definitely had the formal education, the business background, and the barbering background. Mm-hmm. So, he left the country and was on to developing his company in another country, and I saw the opportunity.
That's amazing.
This is our cosmetology space. It's a shared space because we also have our nail school, so they share the space. Okay. This operates as a fully functional salon right here. So people come in off the street, get their nails done, get their hair done for a discounted price. Yep. Our students get practice. Everybody's happy.
Oh, they get braid and everything.
Of course. We also, this is also a state board examination site for cosmetology. So when they take their practical exam, they take it right here also.
Fully licensed straight out the door.
Yeah. We train, we license, and in cases where the student is outstanding, we hire them from within. Because we have 24 contracts within the state of New York, from juvenile detention facilities to high schools to charter schools, military bases, funeral homes, all of that. So as we constantly grow and take on new contracts, we're constantly hiring our outstanding students.
I love that. I love that.
Whenever school-age kids are out for a week, we teach a future barber and Raiders entrepreneur camp. Anyone who's too young to get a license, I mean, I've had an 8-year-old in here.
Just preparing them early.
Yeah, just braiding. And every time, if they keep coming back, we're gonna keep hosting those classes. So as long as they're out for a week, we usually end that camp with ice cream Sunday ice cream sale.
Ice cream makes everything better.
Absolutely. And then after that, you know, the mayor comes through, you know, the police commissioner, you know, some elected officials, and they all support our ice cream sale.
As they should.
Yeah.
As they should.
And then the proceeds of that, so we show the kids how to actually buy up all of the supplies from wholesale or something like that. We give them a list, we give them a price list, and then at the end of the ice cream sale, the proceeds go right back to the kids for them to repeat on their own. So like 4th of July, if they're doing an ice cream Sunday sale, you know, in their neighborhood, you know, all they have to do is keep recycling that effort.
Teaching serial entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
That's fire. That is so fire. I'm on socials all the time.
Let's go.
There's a couple of topics that are constantly coming up when it comes to barbering.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the $100 cut, man. There's a lot of controversy around this, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cuts should never be that much. Cuts like, listen, if I'm putting in the work, I'm doing all this. How do you feel about the $100 cut?
The $100 cut.
It has changed substantially.
It's changed substantially.
How are we working in that sense?
And I think COVID has helped it change substantially. Because if you think about it, during COVID, barbers, plumbers, electricians, they were making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
But you know, to each his own. To the person that charges $100, you know, if you have the clientele, you might as well. You know,
there's so much more services that are being offered now as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean, but if you think about it though, right? The barbershop is like the one place where it's transactional, but you always feel like you won more than you actually paid out, because you have your barbershop therapist, your marriage counselor, your job counselor, everything, right? And you're getting a fresh cut, you know. But if your barber's really into it, they're giving you extra services, hot towel, facial massage, the enhancements. You gotta learn you gotta know how to cut in order to use
That's the key. That's the key.
You can't just be,
That's the key.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, to each his own, but I mean, I personally would, you know, my shop, we charge $35 for a basic haircut, and everything else is an add-on. Like a hot towel, facial massage, that's another $20, possibly $30. But if we charge you $100, you're literally walking out of there. You have a haircut, you have straight razor, hot towel, facial massage, some enhancements, and you're walking out of there with a retail bag full of product that we just used on you.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people are not truly comprehending, that the barbershop is more than what it used to be.
Right.
There's so many more services, so many more add-ons, different hairstyles that are now, you know what I'm saying, depending on whether you have short, this, locks, all the whole entire shebang from there.
But you know what, that hustle mentality has infiltrated barbering also.
I agree.
You know, so sometimes people are saying, hey, you know, I'm trying to get more with less. You know, and that's never, your clientele is not going to be sustainable. You know, whenever you give somebody, you can't lose giving, right? You can't lose giving.
Correct. How do you feel about the term and label Black owned? I think there's a lot of different opinions on it. Oh, I don't have to say I'm Black owned. You should know, you see. How do you feel about that, man? Is it empowering to you? Or just one of those things like, man, it is what it is. I don't have to. Is it a stain on my business? How do you feel about that?
It depends who your clientele is, who you want your clientele to be.
Right.
You know, for me, I always say I don't want all of anything, right? Like, I don't want all women on my staff. I don't want all men on my staff. You know, I think there's strength in diversity, right? But even there's strength in diversity when it comes to your customers. But I will say this, you know, when it comes to being a Black-owned business, is definitely something that makes me feel good. If you think about the path of Madam C.J. Walker, you know, and all the things that she was able to do to strengthen and build entrepreneurs in our community, and especially in a place where the dollar lasts 6 hours in our community versus other communities where it recycles 17 times, 11 times, 9 times. You know, in 6 hours, it's out of our community.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you know, as African Americans, our strength is in our spending power. You know,
Big time.
big time. When it comes to our spending power, we represent an entire country. You know, we're number 7 in the world in terms of our spending power. The other 6 are countries. So, you know, I think when you talk about Black-owned business, there's a lot that's layered. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that made the civil rights movement so effective is, you know, hey, Black folks used to take the subway and the buses, and that was the money maker.
Yep.
So when everybody boycotted and said, hey, you know what, we're not going to ride public transportation, it sent the city reeling.
Yeah.
And that's how they were able to get folks' attention. So honestly, if we want to make a statement like that, we don't ever have to worry about crimes getting unsolved. We don't ever have to worry about a crime not being solved if we leverage our collective spending power.
I think that's awesome. And yeah, man, there's what you said that's super important. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
It's bigger than just the label, but there's also power in that as well. Listen, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate what you're doing here.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to more success, more love, more expansion, and more just lives being impacted by your collective business.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. All right, y'all. So now we're gonna play a game that I created called Talk Black to Me. Yes, obviously it's a play on the phrase talk back to me, but around here, you know we always keep it black. Are you ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right, so we got 30 seconds on the clock.
All right, let's go.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. I'm Black and I'm
Proud.
Name 3 classic Black sitcoms.
Living Single, Cosby Show, Different World,
Okay. Sweet potato pie or peach cobbler?
Sweet Potato Pie.
Name 1 movie with the word black in it.
Black Lightning.
That's a serious.
Pass.
Okay. Hip hop or R&B?
R&B.
Okay. If you could remove one thing from Black culture, what would it be?
The violence.
Name 1 song with the word black in it.
Oh, man. Pass.
All right. Cocoa butter or shea butter?
Cocoa butter.
All right. Name 1 thing that Black culture has influenced.
Everything.
Talk black to me. Rob here, Charnay in the hot seat. Let's go. Once again, I am Cool Artie,
Charnay Phaire from the Westchester Barber and Beauty Academy.
and you're watching Minding Our Black-Owned Business. No business too small. Peace.
Minding minding our black-owned business.
Oh, that's cool.
This has been a Cool Media production.